Hello and welcome to 7 Days. I'm Zack Yusof here with a quick look back at some of the top stories from the last 7 days. In the wake of last Friday's tragic Paris attacks, which left more than 100 people dead, hundreds injured and others in critical condition at 7 locations in the French capital, including the famous rock venue, the Bataclan, as well as restaurants and cafes, and also the Stade de France, where France was playing a friendly match against Germany. It's no surprise that a lot of this weekend's top stories are indeed connected to the incident. In retaliation to the Paris attacks, French fighter jets launched their biggest raids in Syria to date on Sunday and then again on Tuesday, targeting the Islamic State stronghold in Raqqa after the group claimed responsibility for the attacks in Paris in retaliation for French and Russian air raids in Iraq and Syria. The operation, carried out in coordination with US forces, struck a command center, a recruitment center for jihadists, a munitions depot, and a training camp. Now, according to French Foreign Minister Laurent Fabius, France's decision to launch retaliatory airstrikes was an act of self-defense, while investigators said that the attack on Paris was masterminded by terrorist leaders within Syria who commissioned operatives in Belgium carry out the assault. The suspected Islamic State mastermind of the Paris attacks was among those killed in a police raid north of the capital, France confirmed on Thursday, bringing an end to the hunt for Europe's most wanted man. Authorities said that they identified Belgian national Abdelhamid Abaoud from fingerprints in the aftermath of Wednesday's raid and gun battle, in which at least 2 people died, including a female suicide bomber. The 28-year-old Moroccan-born Belgian militant was accused of orchestrating last Friday's coordinated bombings and shootings in Paris, in which 7 assailants died. Another key suspect linked to Friday's attacks in the French capital is still said to be at large. Russia have stepped up their aggression against IS as its fighter jets continued hitting Islamic State's targets in Syria on Wednesday, just one day after Vladimir Putin said that Moscow wanted retribution against those responsible for blowing up a Russian airliner over Egypt. On Tuesday, Moscow concluded that a handmade explosive device was responsible for the crash that killed all 224 passengers on board. In a fiery address, the Russian president said that Russia would intensify its military action in Syria and urged all Russian security services to find and punish the terrorists. He also ordered the Ministry of National Defense and Armed Forces to further deploy the anti-terror action in Syria. After the Paris attacks, security dominated the G20 summit last weekend, where the group leaders, in a rare departure from their usual focus on the global economy, agreed to step up border controls and aviation security and crack down on terrorist financing. In a decree effective immediately, Putin ordered the Prosecutor General's office, the central bank and regional authorities to submit any information they may have on suspicious activities to the Commission. On the local front, Malaysian authorities have tightened security in Kuala Lumpur ahead of the Asean summit on Friday, deploying and taking extra security precautions amid unconfirmed reports of an imminent terrorist threat. US President Barack Obama is joining leaders of the 10-member Association of Southeast Asian Nations, or Asean, for a weekend summit. Leaders from 8 other countries with close partnerships with the group, Australia, China, India, Japan, New Zealand, Russia, South Korea, and the United States, are also attending the meetings. Malaysia tightened security following militant attacks in France, Egypt, and Lebanon. Malaysian Armed Forces Chief Zulkifli Mohammed Zin said, adding that at least 2,000 army personnel were being stationed at strategic points in the capital, with another 2,500 on standby. And finally, students from Wesley College, the former school of rugby great Jonah Lomu, performed the haka in honor of the former student on Thursday. Decades after graduating, students paid tribute to Lomu's legacy by performing the Maori war dance in his memory. Lomu died on Wednesday from a cardiac arrest brought about by a debilitating kidney disease he had battled for 20 years, his former New Zealand coach John Hart, acting as the family's spokesman, told reporters in Auckland. The family of Lomu have agreed to a public memorial service for the All Blacks great, followed by a private funeral as rugby-mad New Zealand mourns the death of the 40-year-old. Rest in peace, Jonah. You were truly one of the all-time greats of the sport of rugby. So until next time, have a great week.